Hello. Hey, this is just a really impromptu live. It'll be out here after it's done, so no worries. You will be able to watch it later. So, I wanted to dispel some yoga myths today, and then we'll do a little bit of a short practice. So give me just 1 second here to get organized in my crazy little space here that we'll talk about in a minute. But myths about yoga. So, first myth, I need to be flexible to practice yoga. How many times have we heard that? How many times have I heard that? Well, here's the thing. Yoga isn't about being flexible in body. Yoga is about being flexible in mind and being willing to work on yourself. So, with that said, if here is your forward fold today, that is awesome. That is an awesome forward fold for you today. If here is your forward fold, perfect, amazing. If you can touch your toes, great, but it doesn't matter. So it's all about working toward your own goals from both a physical, emotional, and mental perspective. So that's number one. You do not have to be physically flexible to practice yoga. Next one. It's expensive to practice yoga. It can be expensive to practice yoga, but it certainly does not have to be expensive to practice yoga. So you don't even technically need a mat. You don't need shoes, special shoes. You don't need special clothes. You can wear anything that you wear on a regular daily basis and practice yoga. So if you want to get a mat, that's great too. I mean, you can get them for $10 at Target, $10 or $15 at Target. And I know I saw them actually at Menards and at the dollar store for almost nothing, but you don't need one. So if you don't have one, get out a big bath towel, a beach towel, whatever you happen to have on hand. So no special clothes, no special equipment, no special anything to practice yoga. The third one that I've heard, I don't have time to get ready, go to a studio, take an hour class, and come home from the studio. Well, first of all, you don't have to go to a studio to practice yoga. You can practice yoga in your living room. You can practice yoga on your porch like I am. My porch literally is, I think it's 8 feet wide, and then it's the width of my house. But I have a treadmill right here next to me on this side. I have a couch right next to me on this side. So essentially what I have for space is my mat. That's it. I've got my mat for my space. So you don't need to go to a studio. You don't need a lot of space. You just need yourself to practice yoga. Another lovely one that I've heard is, I'm not in good enough shape, or I'm not thin enough to practice yoga. Well, so I really got comfortable with my limitations last year after I had surgery in April. So after I had surgery in April, my right arm, I couldn't lift my right arm over my head. I'd had an incision underneath here to take out lymph nodes. I had an incision on the top of my breast where they took out the lump. I was limited on my range of motion, on my movement. I couldn't do most of the poses that I was used to doing. I couldn't do downward facing dogs. I couldn't do cat cow. I couldn't do plank. I couldn't do any of those poses. So what did I do? I had to adjust. I had to modify. I had to say, what are the poses that I can do with my physical limitations? So I learned to adjust. I learned to do the things that resonated with my body when it was in that particular state. I once read a book by a yogi, and I can't remember his name, but he had, I believe, a stroke. And when he had the stroke, he was laying in a hospital bed, and all that he could do was breathe. He could breathe, and he knew that he was breathing. So he said, every day I worked on my yoga. He said I breathed, and I would try to move a finger. I would get to where I can move a finger a bit, and then I would move on, and I would move on. And every day I advanced just that tiniest bit. I've taught yoga to senior citizens in assisted living. I've taught yoga at nursing homes. I've taught yoga to babies. I've taught yoga to moms, postpartum. I've taught yoga to people with hip replacements. So, and now to people who have dealt with chronic illnesses. So yoga is accessible at your individual level, no matter where you happen to be. All right? So I'm just kind of getting rid of your excuses. The last one, I need lots of time, space, and quiet to practice yoga. I don't know if any of you have watched any of my videos that I've done on YouTube, but I have here at the cabin, I have cats, I have chickens, a bunch of them. There's birds, there's farm equipment, sometimes there's grandchildren here. So quiet, no, not so much. There you go. So there is Leslie. Leslie is our rooster, and he enjoys when I am in a call or a Zoom meeting or anything, because he then crows like that. So peace, quiet, space, I got none of it. My cat is going to knock a box off of the table here in just a moment. So we'll probably hear that. So no, you don't need any of those things. What you want to find is a space where your body fits, where you can practice whatever your yoga happens to be that day. So with that said, let's do a really quick yoga practice that pretty much anybody will be able to make their own. So I'm going to sit on the floor, but you are welcome to get a chair and sit in a chair. And I want you to just to find that comfortable seat, wherever that happens to be. So I have a little boy cat here named Major, who I think is going to come down here and join us eventually. He's peering at me out of one eye while he's kind of trying to wake up. But anyway, so sit up nice and tall. I want you to think about grounding down into the mat, so into your cushion, into your chair, into the rug, kind of wherever you happen to be. And release your hands to your knees. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. Really imagine each vertebra of your spine stacked one on top of the other. Now, if it's comfortable for you, you can close your eyes here. You are welcome to keep your eyes open, watch me, look around your space, whatever happens to work for you today. So with those hands on the knees, inhale and let your shoulders lift. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, release through the mouth. Release the shoulders back. You might hear some crunchy popcorn as you do that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Again, let's inhale, lift. And exhale, release. So from this space, just allow your nose to drop forward to wherever it's comfortable. So just let the nose drop forward. You can move your head from side to side, kind of saying no and yes. My neck is tight as all tight can be today. So on an inhale, let your right ear come up towards your right shoulder. Hey, another thing, you don't need any special clothing, right? No special clothing needed, whatever you happen to be wearing. I do happen to be wearing leggings today and a shirt that says I am running with a turtle on it. The nice thing about practicing yoga at home, exhale forward and then inhale to the left, is that it doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter if you're wearing short shorts or your pajamas or whatever just happens to be on you. It doesn't matter if you've taken a shower today, yesterday, or last Thursday. None of it matters when you're practicing at home. Let's exhale forward. Take each side one more time. Inhale up to the right. And just let that ear settle over. So we don't want to hunch or squish. We just want to let that shoulder settle and let the ear settle toward the shoulder. Exhale forward and inhale to the left. Exhale forward and let your gaze come straight ahead. Now, there is a lot of talk, and I've heard this, about having like this altar set up and having all of these little, creatures sitting around, or little statues or pictures or whatever. Yeah, I have none of those things. I have my kitchen table in front of me, and like I said, a treadmill to the left of me, a couch to the right of me. All is well. So let's lean into a little bit of side bending. So I'm just gonna let my left hand, kind of let the fingers tent down here, and inhale my right arm to the sky. Now reaching up through those right fingertips, I'm feeling a nice lengthening and expansion through my right side body. Let that right arm float over, keeping that length. So you don't wanna hunch in, we wanna keep the chest open, keep that length, reach and float over. Now, like I said, this was not accessible to me a year ago. So a year ago, I would have stayed here and just leaned to the side. That is perfectly acceptable if that's where your body is feeling good. Let's come back to center. We're gonna switch sides. So letting our other hand, our right hand now, just kind of let those fingers tent. If you've got the space to let them come to your palm, that's fine too. I feel most comfortable with my fingers tented. Inhale, let the arm rise. Exhale, float over. Again, opening and expanding. This feels so good to just allow that length, to create that length and to stretch through that side body. Exhale, release. So always coming back to center between things. Now inhale both arms to the sky. Intertwine the fingers, lift those palms to the ceiling. Now I'm just kind of wiggling in to just create more space from my tailbone up through those palms. So just kind of wiggling in, lifting up through the palms. Staying with some nice deep breath. So try to bring that breath in and out through your nose, just to build up a little bit of warmth and heat in your body. As you exhale, release to one side. So again, opening up through that side body. If you are not comfortable bringing those arms overhead, you can keep them at the shoulders, you can cross them at the front. Let's inhale back to the top, and then exhale to the other side. And inhale back to the top. Okay, so I'm gonna turn to my side because I wanna show you where we're gonna go next. So we wanna start to kind of release through that spine. So as I mentioned, we're keeping nice and tall here. Now we're gonna exhale, let the arms come forward. Just let your spine curve. Inhale back to the top. Exhale, release. Let's do that a couple more times. And then inhale back to the sky and release those hands down. All right, so I'm gonna come around to what we call a cat-cow. Now remember I said a year ago I wasn't able to do the cat-cow, so let me show you the seated one first, and then we'll come around to the one on our hands and knees. So last year I did the seated cat-cow. I let my hands settle to my knees, just exhaled and kind of pulled myself in. Inhale, lifted the gaze and open. Exhale, release. Inhale, open. Exhale, release. One more time, inhale, open. And now I'll come around and show you what that looks like on the hands and knees. So I was sitting on a meditation cushion. You can just use a pillow off your bed, pillow off your couch, whatever you want to help kind of boost you up, because I cannot sit cross-legged on the floor. So that's another thing, I've been practicing yoga for 22, 23 years. I still can't do what they call a wheel. I still don't stand on my head. I don't do arm stands or headstands, any of those things. So we make yoga our own. Okay, so letting your hands come down. You want your wrists to be under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. You can widen those out just a bit. And then exhale, let the spine rise and the head fall. Inhale, let the belly fall and the head rise. Do that a couple more times. So I'm going to settle back to what we call a hero's pose. Now, a hero's pose is definitely not a happy place for everybody. So if you come into this hero's pose, if you have any knee issues, tightness in your quads, this isn't going to be a happy place. A couple of things we can do. We can take a bunch of stuff, put it underneath you, bring you up a ways. So that'll bring you up a little bit. You can also just be sitting in a chair. Sitting in a chair is perfectly acceptable. So just find that place that's comfortable. And so we're gonna do a little twisting from here. So I just did a leg workout. So I wanted to stretch out my quads a bit. And thus why I am sitting in the hero's pose right now. So let's let our left hand kind of wander over to the right knee. Walk the right arm behind. Keeping that lift up through your spine and taking your gaze back. Come back to center. Allow that gaze to go the other way. And come back to center. All right, so we're going to come up to standing. So as we come up to standing, take a peek down at your feet. Plant down through the soles of your feet. You can do a little shimmy to just kind of get yourself straightened out here. So standing up nice and tall. Engage your quadriceps a bit. Lift your shoulders again, send them back. I'm going to walk to the front of my mat. Coming and finding a chair pose, bringing your hands together, dropping back into your heels and reaching your hands forward. Now this is what a chair pose looks like. It's kind of like you're sitting back in a chair. You can come just to here, you can come down deeper, you can come onto your toes and really come down low if you want, but none of that's necessary. You just want to find your place. Hands to the heart, drop down a little deeper. Let's take our left elbow over to our right knee. So this is just a really nice twist. You may be here with just a hand. You might be here. Your left hand can come to the ground, right hand to the sky. That right hand can reach around if you've got the space. Back to your center. And let's take that twist to the other side. Come back to center. Reach those arms forward and rise back up. Drop the hands to your sides. All right, let's fall into a little bit. We'll do a warrior one and a warrior two from our mountain. Now sometimes you'll see people doing these warriors through sun salutations. That is not a necessary thing. You can do them from wherever. So warrior one is simply softening the left knee, stepping straight back, and then dropping into that forward right knee. You'll start to feel a little bit of work, probably in that front quadricep, more work in the hamstring of that left leg. Take your hips and just kind of gently guide them forward. You'll feel that when you kind of guide those hips to the front of the mat. Now you can take this deeper if you'd like. And then we're going to open right from here to a warrior two. So the warrior two, I'm going to take my hands to my hips, just press that left hip back. Might need to adjust my feet just a little bit. So what I like to kind of talk about when we come into this warrior two
is that the heel of that forward foot is lined up about with the arch or heel of the back leg. And we soften into that knee and just reach those arms out. Now you can be higher than this, your feet can be closer together, arms get tired really fast here, so no worries if your arms get tired. And then let your forward hand drop to the knee, lift that back arm to the sky. Inhale back to center. Breath is the most important part. Exhale, release back. And inhale back to center. Now let's drop those hands. Come back to the front of the mat. And if you lose your balance like I just did, no harm, no foul, right? All right, so let's do the other side. Standing up nice and tall, soften your right knee. Send that leg back. So what kind of the natural inclination is for that right hip to go back with the right leg? Let's kind of take a hold of it, kind of gently guide it forward and then soften into that forward knee. Reminder, everybody's got a different level of flexibility. Everybody has a different place where their body's at. So listen, pay attention, stop when your body is telling you to stop. So this is our warrior one. So I was actually doing a class yesterday, yoga class. So let's take our right hand, guide that right hip back. Again, might need to readjust those feet, soften into that forward knee, bring the arms up. And they kept talking about level 1 and level 2, and I'm like, what the? There's no such thing as level 1 and level 2. There's your level, my level, Susan's level, Rachel's level, Mary's level. There is no such thing as a different level. There's just yoga. Drop the left hand to that left forward knee, bring that arm overhead. Let's inhale, come back through center. And again, drop those hands and walk your feet back together. So we're gonna do a little balance here. So coming back to that, there is no levels of yoga. Also, asana, which is what we're practicing today, is really just one little part of yoga. So let's kickstand our right foot. This might be your tree today. So we're gonna balance. I'm gonna let my hands come to my hips. I'll show you some alternatives here in a moment. So we wanna really be firmly grounded in the standing leg. Kickstand the other leg and let it start to come up inside the other leg if you'd like. You're always welcome to keep those toes on the ground. You are welcome to use the treadmill or couch or chair or whatever's next to you for support. And breathe. So, breath work, pranayama, is another limb of yoga. But the other cool thing is that there's a ton of self-care that's involved in yoga. Healthy eating, daily sunshine, drinking fresh water, cleansing, the movement, meditation, mindfulness, non-harming. There's so many components to a well-rounded yoga practice. Let's release that foot down. Just kind of shake out those legs a little bit. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So I'm working on developing a program right now called Living Your Yoga. So let's kickstand that left foot, and then that left foot can start to come up inside. It's designed for the rest of us, those of us who are not going to a studio, those of us who either don't have the time or the money or the inclination to go into a group class, but who want to find their own yoga practice, their own movement, their own way of living with the philosophy, I want to say, of yoga. So, so I'm in the process of working on that. We're hoping to get that pulled together here in the next little while. If there's anything that I learned during these last 2 years, let your hands float out. Hands can reach to the sky. Hands can come to the heart. Release your foot to the ground. Is that I am fully responsible for my own health, for my own wellness, for my own peace of mind. I can't help others unless I'm taking care of myself. And in order to take care of myself, I have to be mindful. Let's let our arms come to our sides. Be mindful of how I'm feeling, how I'm taking care of myself, how I'm moving, what I'm eating. And yeah, I mean, that's really the way to finding our own yoga practice. So I'm going to come back down to the mat now. We're going to spend just a couple of minutes in a really short guided meditation just to kind of finish out today. So I'm just going to come on back down to my cushion. So the really cool thing is that my hips become a lot more open, even with just that little bit of practice today. I'm able to sit more comfortably on the floor. I'm able to sit more comfortably without my hips hurting on my cushion. So you can either come to seated or you can come to your back, whatever makes you happy. And let's just take 3 nice deep cleansing breaths to start. So we're going to bring that breath in through our nose and then let it go through your mouth. Let's do that again. One more time. And again here, if closing your eyes feels good, just let them close. You're welcome to keep them open. You're welcome to sit, lie down, sit on your couch, just whatever feels right. And just allow your focus to head to your breath. Just noticing the rise and the fall of your chest. Being aware of bringing that breath into the belly and then releasing. Taking another minute or so in quiet, as quiet as you can have. If your eyes are closed, just allow them to kind of gently flutter open. And just some reminders. You don't need to be flexible to practice yoga. Not physically flexible anyway. You have to be flexible in mind to be willing to allow yourself to practice. It's not expensive to practice yoga. You literally need nothing. I have a bunch of free stuff out on my YouTube channel. There's free videos in here in the group. There are, paid opportunities, but you don't need them if you're just getting started or if funds are limited. Just find some free resources. You don't need to be at a studio to practice yoga. You can practice it on your porch, in your living room, with your kids running around you. With in your yard when the weather's nice. You'll see some YouTube ones where Sophia or Eli are here and we're practicing in the yard. You don't have to be skinny. You don't have to be in perfect health. You don't have to really be anything. You just have to be you to practice yoga. So I guess the summary of that is you don't need lots of time. You don't need lots of space. You don't need lots of quiet. And you don't need lots of stuff to practice yoga. You just need yourself and an open, flexible mind to practice. So let our hands come to our heart, either one hand over the other, or you can bring them to prayer. May you be healthy, happy, live in peace, have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. And I hope that this was a helpful way to bring you to calm, peace, and centeredness on your Tuesday afternoon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.